What's something that your mother did to your child that you won't ever forget? When my oldest daughter was 7 years old, not my husband's bio child, but he adopted her after we were married, my mother came to visit. We lived in Texas at the time, and she brought her newest husband to visit us from Washington. She kept asking my daughter about visiting her, then tried talking my daughter into wanting to live with grandma because grandma lived so far away and missed her. My daughter said she would like to visit grandma, but liked living with mama and daddy, my husband and me. When I stepped out of the room a while later to use the bathroom, my mother's pressure on my daughter increased. As I was walking back into the dining room from the bathroom, I overheard my mother tell my little girl, "Your daddy doesn't love you as much as he loves your sisters because you aren't really his." I immediately made my presence known, refuted her words as the lies they were, and told her that it was time for her to leave. Now, she and her husband were packed up and escorted out in 5 minutes, but the hurt touched my daughter so deeply. Daughter and I sat on the couch together and talked about how, when daddy proposed to mama, do you remember how he also got down on his knee and proposed to you? Remember how he asked if he could be your daddy? We talked about how much her daddy loves her and how family isn't only by birth. Remember that daddy is adopted? We talked about lots of fun memories and nice things her daddy did for her over the years to show her how much he loves her, and I did my best to counter the damage my mother did with her selfish words. Now, I will interject that I forgave my mother long ago, and this was not the only instance where she tried to divide my family with her words. Children against children, children against daddy/husband, me against husband. She is a master at triangulation, and eventually I walk away from that relationship altogether. Life is healthier without that kind of influence. My daughter and I had a conversation about a year ago, just the two of us, driving home one evening, and she shared something that had been burdening her heart off and on over the years. She started with, "I know it isn't true, and I know that daddy loves me very much, but sometimes I hear this voice kind of in my head telling me that he doesn't love me as much as my siblings because they are his by blood and I am not." She didn't remember the conversation with my mother 15 years prior, but the words had sunk somewhere deep in her subconscious. We talked about what happened at that visit with my mother, and my now adult daughter cried both in heartache over those cruel words and relief that it wasn't something within her, but a long ago memory. "Why would she say something so evil?" she asked me. I can only begin to imagine. When we got home that evening, we sat down to tea with my husband, just the three of us, and I started the conversation with, "We were talking on the way home today, and something came up in conversation." As the details came out, my husband, big, strong man, not usually overly emotional, had tears in his eyes, stood from his chair and knelt beside our daughter, wrapped his arms around her and said, "Not only are you my daughter, in some ways, I love you even more, because while God blessed me with your siblings, he let me choose you." Thankfully, there hasn't been any doubt in her heart since. But the power of words, to hurt or to heal, is amazing.